You guys, welcome to the Arrow After Show, where we talk all things Arrow, particularly each week's episode of Arrow. And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 11, entitled Midnight City. If you guys never watched the after shows, I just go through the positives and negatives of stuff about the episode, in my opinion, of course. And we're just going to talk about these things. So let's jump right into the positives here. Positives, first thing is, Laurel sucks as a fighter. That is a positive for me, because I'm not a fan of Laurel becoming Black Canary. Now, I know everybody's going to be like, well, she's Black Canary in the comics. I know that. I understand that. It's just I don't like the way that the show is going about it. And the fact that she is a terrible fighter is, making me feel just a tiny bit better that, she's not going to be a badass for a while. Um, Training with Ted Grant and the Wildcat Gym and all that, it didn't help her much. Um, Ray trying to be a hero. Sometimes when I write it looks like Roy, so I have to double check to make sure it says Ray and not Roy. Um, but Ray trying to be a hero, there's a moment where Laurel is talking in City Hall, and Ray Palmer and Felicity walk in, and then not 2 seconds later, Brick shows up and just tears the fucking place apart, kidnaps three guys, and Ray at this moment is trying to be a hero, and then he makes a line at Felicity. He's like, "See, that's why I need a techno suit." Um, I love the character of Ray Palmer. Brandon Routh is doing a tremendous job, making me like the character so much. I like the fact that he's trying to be a hero already, even though his whole Atom project isn't fully done yet. I think he's getting close to being done, but it's not done yet. So I like the fact he's trying to be a hero already. Um, but then, aren't people going to quickly figure it out that, oh, there's a new guy in town, and wait a minute, who was just trying to fight Brick and all them? Yeah. Um, there's Roy. There's a moment where Roy confronts Malcolm Merlin and basically says, "Hey, leave Thea alone. I understand you're her father and all that, but you know, you need to basically just back off." And I like the fact that Roy had the guts to stand up to Malcolm Merlin. He knows what Malcolm Merlin is capable of, and Roy has become such a ballsy character, and he's becoming a badass. And I've grown to the character of Roy in this season, because I didn't like him in the first two seasons at all, except when he was on Mirakuru in season 2 for like one episode. That was it. Until season 3, he's won me over, and I like the fact that whole scene between Colton Hayes and John Barrowman, that worked so well. I loved that scene there. And of course, I got to mention this: Ray Palmer and Felicity's chemistry together, because this is a very charismatic guy, and we've loved Felicity for 3 years now, and just to see their chemistry, their chemistry is so good together, and I can never get enough Ray and Felicity scenes, so keep those coming. Um, there's this is kind of out of order here, but in the beginning of the episode, towards the beginning of the episode, there's a fight. They try to take down Brick and his goons, and he shoots an arrow, and Brick just gets, I guess, pissed off, and he just kills somebody that he had hostage with him. And so Roy is now going to have to struggle with having a death on his hands, because he didn't have Oliver to back him up this time. So I want to see if they're going to do anything with that. I'm sure they will. The writers have always kind of done that, especially when like a death. It could just be a little moment, but then they make it a bigger deal later. And I'm very curious to see how Roy's going to handle that. Um, and then Malcolm, he tells Thea part of the truth, and I say part of the truth because he says, "Look, we're in danger. There's a guy called Ra's al Ghul. He's the leader of the League of Assassins. He's after us. We're in danger. We can't stay here." So he basically told her everything except the stuff about Oliver. He left out, and I like that Malcolm came clean. Um, Roy needs to come clean, or somebody needs to tell Thea about Oliver. But um, I did like the fact that Malcolm told her at least most of the truth. It's kind of developing their relationship a little bit more honest now. Hopefully that carries through. I doubt it. For some reason, I had this feeling in my head that honesty's not gonna last too long, but maybe. I mean, I don't know. Um, Brick is a badass. Uh, yeah, Vinny Jones. I liked him in last week's episode, but that was just pretty much just an introduction to his character. I mean, that first episode with him, you knew this guy meant business. You knew he wasn't fucking around, and to see him in action more. Yeah, Brick's kind of a badass, and I wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alley in Starling City, that's for sure. Speaking of being badass, Maseo was a badass. There's a moment where Oliver and Maseo are talking, and this is in present time, and Tatsu's there, and all of a sudden the League of Assassins comes in, Oliver's hiding, the League of Assassins comes in and say, well, where's Oliver Queen? And Maseo is like, I don't know. I went there to bring him back, and to Roz, and the body wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, they start attacking Maseo, and Maseo he's got great fucking reflexes, I'll tell you that much. Maseo was just being a badass. We've seen little moments of him being a badass before, but not this much. And so I'm glad to see Maseo as a badass. He is a member of the League, after all. But to actually see it was pretty cool. And then Thea makes a Purge reference. I can't remember exactly what the line was, but they're in the club, and she says something along the lines of, you would think that this would be the kind of place that people will be purging at. And I'm like, oh, there's a Purge reference in there. I'm not a big fan of the first movie. I haven't seen the second one, but, it's a Purge reference. I mean, I kind of like, I see what you did there, Thea. That's pretty much all for the positives. Not saying that this is a bad episode at all. I actually quite enjoyed this episode for the most part. And of course, there is more positives and there is negatives. But let's get into the negatives because I do have some. And a couple things involve Felicity, and I didn't think Felicity would ever be in my negatives list. And I still love the character of Felicity, and I still love Emily Bet Ricards, who's playing Felicity. That's not the problem. It's just a couple of things that Felicity did in this episode I didn't really like. First off, Felicity, she wasn't gone that long at all. At the end of last week's episode, she says, look, I'm done with this. I'm leaving. Oliver's not here. I'm done. And she basically goes and tells Ray the same thing. She's like, look, I'm not going to stop you from doing what you're trying to do, but I'm not going to help you either. But in this episode, she's like, I changed my mind. I'm going to help you all. That was a little... I wanted to see a little bit on how the team was going to deal with Felicity being gone. Just a little bit longer. You didn't have to make it the rest of the season or anything. Just give me a few more episodes with Felicity gone from the team. I mean, obviously, I still want Felicity in each episode, but you know what I mean? So that's why that's in the negatives. Another thing with Felicity is Felicity... okay, so there's... Laurel is, Detective Lance figures out that Sarah is back in town because the Black Canary is going around stopping criminals, and he tries to get a hold of her, and he's pretty happy. He seems pretty happy that his daughter's back in town. But with Laurel not telling Lance the truth about, look, Sarah's dead, I'm the Canary now, whatever, that's fine. I'm sure they'll get to that. But what made that whole situation worse is Felicity using Sarah's voice. So when Laurel, as the Canary, is talking to her father, she's using Sarah's voice. Why would Felicity contribute to a lie like that? Why would she do all that? I mean, I kind of don't understand. Why are you using Sarah's voice? That's cruel. That's going to fuck him up even more. And I really like the character of Lance, and he's going to get hurt, and I don't want to see him get hurt, but he's going to. And this is just making the whole thing worse. Which brings me to my next negative. Laurel lying to Lance. She's pretending to be Sarah. She's there's even a moment where he's like, "Well, hey, let's go catch up. Let's go get some coffee or something in the morning." And she's like, "No, I can't. I can't." And Laurel's hiding in the shadows using Sarah's voice, and I'm like, you can at least tell him part of the truth. Malcolm Merlin told Thea at least part of the truth, just enough to what he needed to know at this current time. But again, I'm sure it's all about timing. I'm sure the Arrow writers know when the right time is going to be for that. It's just I'm I'm over this whole Laurel lying to Detective Lance thing. I'm over it. And finally, the last thing. Now, this is kind of a positive and a negative because I'm not sure how to feel about this. The big cliffhanger ending, I something I didn't see coming. That's for sure. And according to what other people are saying, they didn't see it coming either. Um, I don't remember the character's name yet because we haven't seen too much of him, and he's a character I don't like, so I don't really care. But Thea's new boy toy, if you want to call it that, the DJ at her club, we find out at the end of the episode that he gets on the phone and he says, "Well, Thea's not leaving," and then we see he's talking to Maseo. So we find out that her new boy toy is a member of the League of Assassins. Now, I'm not sure how to feel about this. I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing. I put it down in the negatives mainly because I don't like the character. I don't like that. I just don't see him fitting just yet. So I don't really want the character developed all that much. I kind of just want the whole character gone completely. But having said that, there is potential there. There is potential to do something really cool and to make me like the character a bit. Uh, why is he in the league? What is his whole purpose with Thea and Malcolm Merlin? Why is he? What is he trying to achieve here with Maseo? So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Like I said, I don't like the character, but this whole thing has got potential. So it's kind of a positive and a negative for me. So guys, that's pretty much all I got down for season 3, episode 11, entitled Midnight City of Arrow. What do you guys think of this week's episode? What are your predictions for like next week? Um, I'm pretty excited for the next few episodes at least because I know what the synopsis of the next couple episodes are. Um, so I'm pretty excited to see some of this stuff play out. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you thought about this, and yeah. Well, see you later.